Hey guys, what's happening? I just want to say first off, how you just thank you and how grateful I am. Thank you so much for making Exahere Media's foray into daily content a huge, awesome, amazing experience and success. It exceeded my expectations well beyond any expectations I had. It was really amazing to see the response and to see how many people really devoured the content that we provided and interacted with the site. you know, all the writers who contribute to Exahere Media and myself, we worked really hard to provide this provide that content and to see the reactions and to see all the visits to the site and excuse me, the page views, and just it was just amazing, and I'm so grateful and so thankful. Like I've been saying all week, Exahere Media is the only place that you can get content like that all in one site, and I will, you know, tirelessly work my ass off. I will work so hard to make sure that we were providing just the best content out there and the most unique and the brightest, most talented voices. So, again, thank you so much. I think it's Sunday, and we're still working out what we're gonna do every Sunday. But I thought, one of the reasons why I started Exahere Media was an outlet for writing that I was having a hard time finding published or making accessible to my fans. Despite the success of my other books, my published books, and this is there was a project that I did. I spent 6 weeks on the road with this then Austin-based glam band, the St. James Society, and it was an amazing experience. And I recorded the whole tour on audio cassette tapes and wanted to write a book on it. And when I got back after the tour, I wrote an outline and had a hard time finding a market to sell it to. So the ideas just sat there, and I've written some stuff out, and this is one of the projects that eventually I'd like to, when Exahere Media turns into a publisher, release it on Exahere Media. And I thought in honor of that and the great first week that we had, because I love that band, and that was such a fun, awesome, just awesome, incredible, insane, fucking insane 6 weeks. And I thought that, should give you guys maybe a story from that. And so it's the foreword that I've written. The book itself is presently titled "The Devil Wants to Dance with Me on the Road with the St. James Society." And yeah, here we go. The foreword. I sat down on their couch, both my hands clutched around the sides of a wine glass filled to the rim with Pinot Noir, listening to Brandon and Elsa fucking in their bedroom. The 5 tabs of acid that Brandon had dropped underneath my tongue 6 hours earlier were slowly wearing off. It was only a body high now, and a few distorted shapes and colors. But the intensity of that sound, their loud fucking, was a noise which did not seem chemically enhanced at all. Excuse me. I leaned back and took a sip and thought about her and meeting her in LA on the tour. I thought about those lovely jewels for eyes and those soft lips and her heavy breathing as we passionately kissed. I wanted to jerk off at that exact moment, right in their living room, right on their couch, while my body was still experiencing the semi-euphoric waves of LSD. After spending the majority of the previous 30 days in an extended Dodge van with 5 relative strangers, the yearning for anything physical, sexual, had become a sense stronger than smell. And with her on my mind, It seemed like jacking off in another strange setting was the right thing to do. But when I closed my eyes again, a nostalgic flood of memories from the last 6 weeks poured around my head. The incredible journey I'd been on, and the vultures and the gypsies, those 5 strangers in the St. James Society that became my friends, and the music they created. The reason I was there in the first place. Music that was as heavenly as it was dirty and sexy. Every song like a dangerous dream, laced with Jameson and GHB. Psychedelic riffs and bluesy doom. Haunting lyrics, demonic growls, and a touch of golden eyes. Leaning forward after taking down more than half the wine in one swig, I flipped through a few pages of Jim Harrison's book, The Farmer's Daughter, before opening my yellow notebook, which I couldn't believe I still had. And I began reading through some of the tattered pages filled with entries, ideas, and stories. Some pages yellow from the rain, some pages brittle and hard from the 1,000 drinks dumped onto them, some pages with notes written by members of the band, my favorite one being one that Elves had jotted down as we roared away from Chambers, Arizona, in the still midnight, pushing down the highway in a part of the country where the nighttime sky feels so vast and endless, where streaks of purple highlight its black canvas, where the stars sparkle and shine as bright as the sun. Chambers, which you couldn't even find on Google Maps at the time, was where the van broke down for the first and only time on the tour, forcing us to spend an evening with a clan of assorted meth users and parolees, and even a 9-fingered girl who asked us to sing the Candlebox song Far Behind with her in the kitchen of their shack-like home, which we did, and whose 10th finger was cut off a few years earlier in Albuquerque because of an $86 drug debt she owed, which was finally paid off after she'd been kidnapped, stored in a trunk, and her finger had been mailed to her grandparents. While a couple of the band members fell asleep, Els and I laid in the middle of the van, which we called the pit, and was filled with beanbags and pillows and blankets, and talked for hours before she finally took the pen from my hand and stopped the cassette and wrote, because not everything has to be recorded. A smile sliced across my face as I closed the notebook and looked at the front of it. There were 2 stickers that had been put on it by someone from the band. A Southern Restoration sticker on the top left corner, and then a St. James Society sticker in the center, the design of which would at one point in the desert between Flagstaff and San Diego lead to talks of tattoos during our 3-day stay in San Francisco. Tattoo talks in the dead heat at a rest stop, cold tall cans in our hands, the euphoric anticipation of California just on the horizon, only a few hundred miles away. Then below the sticker, the words that I cribbed on a rainy day in Portland, sitting in the van by myself with a belly full of beer and a bloodstream laced with Valium and opiates. The words, "Let the story tell itself." Words that I wrote to keep reminding myself that this was a journey that I had no control over. The band and I were making up the plot every single day we pushed ahead from one city to the next, from one show to another, from shady drug buys in the strange alleys of foreign cities to the dirty floors and hard couches of friends and tour angels. A story that was being written in time from the inside of a white van named Desire, and that this story was something that no matter how prepared I thought I was for it, it was one that was unfolding every second anyone along for the ride breathed, smoked, farted, or puked. It was something new for me, a piece of life I couldn't control. And armed with an audio cassette tape player I named Lester at a dive bar called the Last Day Saloon in Encinitas, 2 pens, the notebook, and these 5 amazing characters and radical souls, my purpose became simple: record the madness, create the legends, survive the goddamn road, then do justice to the story we had all written in our own beautiful, mad words. I stepped outside for a cigarette after putting the notebook down and stared at a possum, whose demented face was freaking me out quite a bit. I called Miss LA and she answered, and her voice gave me butterflies and made my dick hard. It was hard to hear her voice and not be sad too. I'd fallen hard for her in our momentary love story. We talked that night and I told her I'd done acid and she laughed. She asked if I was glad that the tour was basically done, and I wasn't sure how to answer that. On one hand, I was stoked on the idea of not spending a shit ton of money and being out every night. I was also stoked on the idea that I was getting closer to sleeping in my own bed. But I was terribly sad too. Even though I would still be with the band for a few more days, I was sad to leave the St. James Society. They'd taken me in with skepticism just as I'd done with them, but in the end, we'd created a family together during our time on the road, and the music had been such a haunting, meaningful presence for me that I wasn't sure I could go a night without knowing I was getting to see one of the best, one of the sexiest, and one of the most dangerous bands of this generation play a killer set before drinking the remains of the night away with them and stumbling back to that white van. Me and her talked for an hour, and I smoked 3 more cigarettes. By the time we were through, and I re-entered the apartment, Brandon and Elsa were done fucking. The place had suddenly become the quietest place in the world. I grabbed a glass of wine, and I chugged the rest of it, and then walked back into the last strange bathroom of the tour, and I jacked off to the images of her in that LA hotel room, her back pushed up against the wall. Our eyes locked into each other's as if we were staring deep into one another's dreamy, haunted soul. Life was good. I shot my load in a piece of toilet paper, then walked back to the living room, laid back down, and looked over my cassette tapes and notebooks with a smile, knowing that I'd just danced with the devil for 6 weeks, and the only thing I wanted to do was dance some more. The end. So that's it. I'll leave you with that. I'm posting a transcript of this along with the video up on www.jasonmyersexaheremedia.com. It's going up today, and then the next week begins tomorrow. So please come back to the site. We'll have a new piece up, and the journey continues. Also, don't forget, have limited edition This Is Not a Love Story t-shirts. There's only 100, and they're going fast. There's down to about 45 left or so. So if you would like those before they're gone for good, go order one today. Or what can I tell you? You will not be able to wear Travis Wayne around for the rest of your life anywhere you want to. Anyway, that's it. Have a great Sunday. Tell your mothers you love them. Because you should. They put up with all of you. And, stay tuned and check back tomorrow. All right, bye.